Are you afraid to make more money? Welcome to Break Room Conversation. The gang's all back. We're here. How exciting. Welcome, you guys. So today we are discussing a kind of a sensitive topic, which we like to discuss sensitive topic. And today we're talking about raising your prices, which we know it's an absolute must if you want to grow your business. And, you might not be ready today, but we are here to talk to you from experience on how to prepare you when that time does come. So Tatum, I know this is one of your favorite topics to talk about. What are your thoughts on increasing prices?
Well, I think it's probably one of my favorite topics because I had to go through this and it is terrifying. I had a big $10 price increase at some point in my career, and I was nervous. I had to tell my clients, and the first client, I mean, it took up all my courage just to say, "Hey, I'm getting a price increase." And she didn't care. She was like, "Whatever, it's $10, no big deal." Second client, same amount of jitters, she didn't care. By the fourth client, I said, "Hey, I'm raising my prices $10." I realized that literally none of them cared. And it was me who was holding myself back the whole time. It was me who was sort of putting, a barrier against my own self-interest that didn't need to be there. And so that's one of the reasons why I love talking about it. But I do want to acknowledge that it's scary. One of the things that I've done to sort of get through this sort of fear is to actually do some math. And I know everyone hates math, so I did the math for you. And it's really easy, right? So if you have 40 clients, right, and they're $50 each, that means that every year you have an opportunity to make $100,000, right? If you raise your prices to $60, that means you have an extra $400 a week you're bringing in. It's $120,000 in revenue. That's a huge, huge dollar amount for a very little increase in salary. Now, most people think about the positive, but they first think about the negative, and that is, am I going to lose clients over this? I don't think you are, but let's imagine that you do. Let's imagine that you lose 7 clients, okay? Let's say imagine, and that's not going to happen. But let's imagine you do. That means at the end of the year, you've only lost $1,000 total. So you do 7 less clients a week, and you still are basically making the same amount of money. Now, I think if you look at your book, the odds are there's not 7 people you can find on your full week that are going to leave you over $10. There's just not. So the difference is somewhere between that $100,000 a year and $120,000 a year. So I hope, and do the math yourself, it works out. I hope that kind of relieves a little bit of fear and anxiety around that. But it is something that I think we all need to consider. Inflation is happening anyway, right? Money is getting less valuable. You got to raise your prices. I promise you, you won't lose 7 clients over it. And I promise you at the end of the year, you're going to be making more money and having more fun. Alberto, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, this is why I'm getting together of all our different unique experiences and perspectives on it. I had something similar with myself happen, that I had this fear of changing the way I work, especially doing hair color only, until I realized I'm the magic sauce that they want. They're coming for me. So I actually shifted my way of working into an hourly rate. And, it kind of makes sense to me of working that way and including everything in the hair color service. We have to adapt now more than ever. Hair services are changing. Nothing is really a la carte anymore, especially when it comes to hair color, y'all. Because I remember, when I first started my career, I would just use pretty much a powder lightener and I would tone the guest. Now, when I look at everything it takes to do color on one person, it's like 10 different tubes of something. So by working into this hourly rate and increasing your services, you're actually giving the guest more time with you. They're paying for time. And that gives me the ability to do everything I need to do on the guest instead of rushing it and being like, okay, well, today let's only do a partial. You're halving the service. Give them everything that they want. Again, they're the magic sauce. And it was such a big game changer for me. And they loved it because they didn't feel rushed through this.
Yeah, and I want to kind of say that we're not telling you to go increase your prices today. There is definitely a formula for increasing your prices. I mean, my magic number, I really think you should be about 85% booked, or at least booked out, 3 to 4 weeks in advance. I don't know what you guys think about that, but you want to make sure that the demand is there, because I've seen it happen. If you prematurely raise your prices and you don't have the clientele to support, you will lose clients. So you want to make sure the demand is there to increase your prices. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, obviously, different salons are going to have different metrics for when they want to raise prices. I always hesitate to tell people not to raise your prices, because what I know from working in the salon industry as long as I have is that there are way more people who should raise their prices and are afraid to than are people who shouldn't raise their prices and want to. So it's like, the reality is, if you're having this conversation, if you've heard someone from your work, your boss, your manager, your coworker say raise your prices, you probably should have raised your prices like a year ago. And so I don't even want to tell people not to do it. Like, figure out how to raise your prices. I promise you're not gonna lose that many clients, if any. And if you do lose clients, that's okay, because you're pricing yourself into another market too. When you get more expensive, there are certain people who want more expensive haircuts. So it's not like as you go up in price, there's less money out there. There's still money out there. Don't be afraid. Do the math. Look at your book. Am I really going to lose 7 out of 40 clients a week if I do this? The odds are you're not. And so I don't want to tell people not to. Just go ahead, strongly consider it. Obviously, check with your manager to make sure you can. But the odds are there's more people who are holding themselves back than there are pushing themselves forward.
Look at social influencers. How do you think they have people that fly all over the country just to come see them, and they are not afraid to charge their value? They've created that demand. Everybody's talented. Everybody has their own unique thing, and so you have the ability to do it. It's again your way.
Yeah, I think we get in our own way. And I remember years ago having a conversation with a stylist who was going up to $90 for a haircut, which in the city that we were in, I was a little nervous about it. And, we had to go through, okay, this is all the training that you have done, all of the trade shows you have, participated in. I mean, his resume was so long of all the accomplishments and the experience that he had for him to go up to that level. Plus he had the clientele. So what was really cool too, is when, it was more like, okay, let's start showing up like a $90 hairdresser, and he then came, he came into work with a fancy suit. We're not saying get a fancy suit, but he had like a nice suit on, and he really played the part to attract that clientele that did want to pay that $90. And I was his client. And when he went to 90, I personally, I'm on a budget. I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. So he recommended someone else for me to go see that could, take care of my hair. And I missed him so much because he brought it. He took time with his consultations. He brought on those value-added services with hand massages and scalp massages. And I actually saw the value after leaving him of why I wanted to pay $90 to get a great haircut and a great experience. So you really have to bring it too when you increase your prices as well.
Obviously, having a great service is going to be critical to you being successful in general. But I think the point that Stephanie and Alberto are kind of hitting on is that the people who are your clients, your loyal clients, it's not just about the haircut and color for them. It's about the experience, and you're already bringing that to them. They already love you. So yes, if you raise your prices substantially, make sure the service reflects it, but just don't shoot yourself in the foot by not raising your prices if you can. And you should. And my big point is just embrace the fear. I felt it. I knew I needed to raise my prices. It was happening. It was already happening. I had to just tell them, right? It was done. And I felt weird about it, and it was scary, but I'm telling you, after the third or fourth client that literally did not care, I got over it right away. And it really broke down this huge hurdle that I had about really just like my own self-worth and value and all the stuff that didn't matter. Just raise your prices. You're going to make more money. Everyone's going to be happy. And again, you're going to price yourself into that. If you have someone who isn't comfortable with that, definitely recommend them to someone else. But the odds are, like Stephanie kind of insinuated, they're going to find that 10 extra bucks. I mean, look, 10 extra bucks over 6 services a year. That's like $60. Are you not worth more than $60? You are. You are. I spend more than $60 going out at the club, right? So my haircut's definitely worth more than that over the course of a year. So do yourself a favor, figure out how you can raise your prices, go through it, practice telling your clients you're going to raise your prices, and just do it. And I promise you, by this time next year, you're going to have a lot more money in your pocket. You're going to be a lot happier.
Yeah, it's a celebration, so celebrate with your clients. You're getting a raise for your experience, for all that you've gone through. So make it a celebration. I see plenty of salons that have balloons all over their stations, or they'll have cards, taped up and congratulating the stylist, and just make it a fun moment for everyone, and it'll make it a lot less scary when you're trying to have that conversation with them. So yeah. All right. What you got?
Words.
What was that?
You always have such great parting words.
And yes, so we are back, and we have so many great topics. We have a lot of sensitive topics. We have a list. So if you want to add to that list, please go ahead and send us a message. We'll be here every Wednesday. And yeah, it's great seeing you guys.
It's great being back on.
Woo! We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.